TSM is a company that we've talked about a lot. And so today we broke the news this morning that the U.S. has ordered TSM to halt shipments to China of chips used in AI applications.
Mm-hmm.
So the U.S. government has directed Taiwan Semiconductor to stop shipping advanced chips to Chinese customers. This order includes chips with designs of 7 nanometers or more advanced, specifically those powered AI accelerators and GPUs. So that's not a good thing, you would think. And as a result, the stock is down $8 today.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a complicated issue because obviously China and Taiwan have a very tense relationship.
Yeah.
But they're actually doing business with China, which is a lesson within itself.
Mm-hmm.
But the geopolitical risk of this escalating from Taiwan being invaded by China, but even now having a disruption in their customer base by the U.S. telling them what to do and not letting them sell products to China. That's interesting. So how is this going to play out for TSM?
Well, they're going to do like NVIDIA did and just make another chip to sell directly to China. I mean, this is the crazy part. Like this, there's already been a mandate for this. I get it. But if you're doing business with an arch nemesis and you stop supplying them, wouldn't that give China more reason to go in and take what they thought was theirs anyway? So you already took what I believe is mine. Not saying this is true, but I believe this territory is mine. And now you're going to mandate that they stop supplying me with the chip that is, well, TSM, you should hurry up. And hopefully you knew this was coming. And you manufacture a chip that you can sell specifically for China with maybe not as great tech. Or China going to be at your doorstep in 2026.
Yeah, so this is interesting. This is interesting because not only does it affect TSM, and we've gone over this, but this affects the entire semiconductor space, right? This disrupts supply chain. The first idea was that, right? Let's figure out a chip that we can sell that's not 7 nanometers, which means 5, 3, and I know some companies are working down to 2.
Yeah.
With the 5 we spoke about, AMD uses. The 3 is what NVIDIA is down to using. Broadcom is at 5 as well in terms of nanometers. But it also brings up this company that I know we've put the death certificate on, but it does raise a question about Intel. Because, right, like there's, for some reason, if you look at the CHIPS Act, and I know they said that they were going to do away with it, and then it was like, no, I know we said it, but we're probably not going to do it. The largest receiver of capital from that CHIPS Act is Intel.
What a bad investment.
Think about that. But U.S. company, right, that is going to have foundries. They're not even making 7 nanometers yet, right? Or they might just be in that process. And so it starts to open up the door for American semiconductors. And so now I'm looking at a Micron a little bit differently, right? Yes. I already loved it, but now I might like it even more.
A little bit more. Yep.
A little bit more. It also talks about how fast the infrastructure can be built in Arizona for this TSM plant, right? Because if that invasion happens, I know they said 2027 it'll be ready. And you know,
hurry up
too. And it's I think they're up to $8 billion cost for this now. 2027 might be too far, right? They might have to start expediting this thing up to move a little bit faster. But even still, that doesn't do away with, I mean, that helps in terms of invasion from China, but it still doesn't, it knocks out a market. Like China is a market. You need that market, right? It's the second largest economy in the next 20 years. We foresee it being the number 1 economy in the world. You need that base. So they got to figure this out. This is interesting news. I'm not alarmed yet, but we definitely have to monitor this situation very, very closely because of the supply chain issue that it affects if something happens to that company.
Yeah, I do want to see what the response is going to be. Even a more egregious mistake than some of the campaigning that's happened over the last 3 months. But if you take away the contract from TSM to China and try and give it to Intel, boy,
They're keeping it alive for a reason, right? Like
it's going to have to go somewhere else. Intel, send that money back and let them get that shit to NVIDIA or AMD. This may be one of the worst investments of all time. Like, imagine had this been us, had the government gave us all this money and it went to Intel, the scrutiny we'll face. Once again, Intel hasn't hit a new high since 2000.
Yeah.
No one wants the Pentium 2. Shout out to everybody at HQ, but like you've lost this race. Yeah, it's just unbelievable that this happened. But yeah, TSM, that plant in Arizona, they need to find some Chinese workers, move them to Arizona, build that plant faster before we have a all-out war in 2027. I hope.
So their preliminary agreement with the government is for $8.5 billion in grants, right? And if you've ever been to college or you just leaving high school, you know a grant is money that you don't pay back.
Yes.
$8.5 billion in grants and up to $11 billion in loans for their
shout to whoever they had lobby though on behalf of that though.
Like,
job well done.
Well, will Trump repeal it?
The CHIPS Act?
Yeah.
Well, the first news is that they were like he was running on this campaign, right?
Yeah.
And even Representative Speaker Johnson was saying that this is something that we're going to get rid of. And then the day after the election,
he changed his tune.
Yeah. You know what? On better evidence, we're probably not going to do that. We probably do that. Yeah.
You should repeal giving the money to Intel. That'll make America great.
Yeah. If you're trying to advance in the race for AI, then that would make no sense. You can't repeal it. It doesn't make sense.
That's one of the few sectors that we are still dominant. And this is really a race of us versus China. That's why this is being done. We cannot lose this piece on the chessboard. We cannot. So that's why I've been so critical about the government giving the money to Intel.